This is a short video for people who are well just now, but who might get a serious illness or a life-threatening condition at some time in the future. How to live and die well. Know more about what might happen and plan ahead as much as possible. One of the secrets to living and dying well is to understand what might happen for people with different illnesses and plan as best we can. 100 years ago, people died from three main causes: infections, in childbirth, or in accidents, and these happened relatively quickly. Nowadays, most people will have one of three main types of declining health: cancer, organ failure, or frailty. Let's now look at these three typical illness trajectories or patterns of decline. A rapid decline takes weeks or months, most often in certain types of cancer. An unpredictable and variable decline, taking months of year, typically with longer term lung or heart conditions, or a longer gradual decline, most often found with general frailty or dementia. It's important to remember that the future is always a bit uncertain and health problems may develop. But getting seriously ill isn't just a physical experience, it's a four-dimensional one: physical, social, psychological and spiritual, and these other dimensions may be more important to a person and their family than symptoms or physical health problems. In the rapid trajectory, typically some cancers, physical decline happens more predictably towards the end of life. Some people find themselves increasingly alone or isolated in parallel with poorer physical health. But there are certain times when people might have more psychological distress, anxiety, and when questions about the meaning and purpose of life can be common. So knowing about those common patterns and experiences allows us to prepare in advance and get better support to minimize distress in all these aspects of life. Looking at this more variable trajectory of organ failure, there are times when people get a flare-up of the disease and have to be admitted to hospital or have much more care at home. This can be very worrying and bring social problems at the same time. Spiritual concerns like, what does this all mean in this sort of illness pattern may come at any time. So preparing and planning in advance to cope with these unpredictable events and getting extra psychological and social support at these times can make a big difference to how people cope. Finally, the gradual decline, typically of frailty or dementia. Research shows that actually these other aspects, social, psychological and spiritual, frequently decline long before the person dies. What this means is that we should try hard to help people and their carers stay in touch with family and friends, and share their anxieties and worries with people close to them and health and care professionals, so they can live well. Talking and planning helps people get help to do the things that's most important to them, and keep as much of their independence and sense of meaning and purpose as possible. Everyone dies. We will all die even if we feel quite well now. It may suddenly tap us on the shoulder or creep up on us. But to know about these patterns of declining health in advance can help us deal with the different challenges that we will face one day. It'll help us live and die as well as possible, whatever happens. It's good to think ahead and be prepared. Then we are more likely to live life to the full and then have a good and dignified death.